sex therapy awkward? Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Shannon Chavez, here to talk about what we do in a sex therapy session. So what happens in a typical sex therapy session? It is talk-based, but I do give things like homework. Why homework is important is, as a therapist, I believe that we should be able to apply what we're learning in therapy to our practical lives. It can be great in theory, but what do we do with that information? How do we apply it to our everyday life? A typical sex therapy session is like most psychotherapy. It is talk-based therapy. We are creating goals, awareness. We're talking about what we want to get out of the process. I always tell my clients therapy has a beginning, a middle, and an end. We want to see as we're going along in the work, are we making progress? Are we getting to the place where you are feeling more confident, more aware, more empowered around your sexuality? First off, it's very personalized to each client. Everyone coming in has their own background, current concerns. So my first step is always to get to know my client. I want to know about you and your daily life, your lifestyle, your culture, your values, and your background before we jump into any work. It's so important that we take a personalized approach because sex therapy is a very personalized process. Not everything works for every client. So the more I know my clients, the better I can make recommendations and a plan that fits for them. Also, sex therapy is not just about sex. We look at relationships, relationship with self, relationship with partners, and relationship to the context in which we understand our own sexuality. It is so important that we take time to do things like a sex history. That can take anywhere from 1 to 2 sessions where we go into everything from your values and beliefs around sex to practices, interests, desires, and learning the language of your sexuality. We all come from different backgrounds and different levels of education around sexuality, so it's so important that I meet my clients where they're at, which means what language are they using to describe their bodies? If they do have sexual concerns or problems going on, how well do they understand that and what are their words that describe what's happening in this moment? It can be difficult talking to anybody about sex, but especially a stranger. Even though I'm a professional and this is the work that I'm doing, it's still vulnerable to open up and be really honest with a sex therapist. So I take that very seriously in my work with clients and take that time to build that rapport. One surprising fact about sex therapy is that it can actually be fun. Therapy sometimes can feel very overwhelming, especially as we're processing and working through concerns, but there's a fun element of sex therapy that I believe makes it stand out from other forms of therapy. Since sexuality can often feel like a very serious topic, it's nice to have a space where we can explore, talk about things like devices and products, and also sexual behaviors that may not be a part of our own template. For example, maybe clients will see things in the media or read articles or even bring books into sessions where they may have curiosities, and being in a safe space where they can talk about it or ask questions or even read a passage out of an article or a book can be so healing. I always invite clients to bring into session things that they're curious about or that they're seeing that may influence how they think about their own sexuality. What's the awkward part about sex therapy is the fact that we're talking about sex in a therapeutic space. You may find this hard to believe, but many therapists in traditional therapy models don't ask about sexuality. I find this really curious, even with clients that have been doing therapy for many years or even couples work with a partner. They find that maybe their therapist isn't comfortable talking about sexuality, or they quickly breezed over questions or concerns about sexuality. So having a really safe space where they can deep dive into some of those concerns and questions and help make those connections in their life. One of the areas of specialty that I have in my practice is looking at early relationships in life and how they influence our intimacy, how they impact our programming in our bodies and in our mental beliefs and scripts around sex. Putting that background and what we experienced early on together with what's going on currently can be very insightful, and it can help us figure out a path to changing behaviors, understanding how to develop better belief systems, and having a better relationship with your internal dialogue. There can be so much shame and embarrassment around sexuality. Sex therapy is really a space to heal that. It's a space to feel proud of who you are sexually. That's why we spend time looking at your identity, who you are as a sexual being, and remembering that it is your birthright as a sexual being to learn about your sexual health, to know yourself, to have a vocabulary and a language to help describe who you are and what you need sexually. Sex therapy is not awkward. If anything, it can be a great healing space It's a place for us to feel heard, understood, to explore, and even have fun. It also is a place that you can come at any stage or age of your life. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, sex therapy can be effective and helpful. If you have any questions about sex therapy, definitely leave me a comment. What have your experiences been like? What are your questions? And what do you want to know about sex therapy? If you are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.